Hello and welcome to this training that I have entitled the 3 Steps to Upgrade Your Physical and Mental Performance. Now, I'm going to be with you for roughly the next 20 minutes. When you've watched this training, if you have any questions, if you feel that something isn't quite crystal clear to you, then please do get in contact with me. Send me a message. My email is ashley@ashleybishophealth.co.uk and ask. I really want you to get to the end of this training and there to be no stone unturned. I want it to be crystal clear on everything that I've shared with you, because the more crystal clear you are on what I've shared with you, the more likely you are to start implementing what I'm going to share with you. So we're going to start off by, hello, I am Ashley Bishop. That is me in the middle, staring lovingly into the camera. On the left-hand side there, you see my beautiful family. And on the right-hand side, you see my other beautiful family, my 2 classic cars that my grandfather left me. Now, I don't want to spend too long talking about myself, but I feel it's important just for a couple of minutes to share a little bit more about me, my background, why I'm here today and why you should continue listening to today's training. Now, I've been running my business since 2005. Now, when I first originally set up, I was a personal trainer, that traditional standing over you, making you exercise and dishing out diet plans. I also got into personal training when it was just starting to filter down from the rich and famous. Qualifying was a challenge, and I was one of the only personal trainers in my area. In fact, I opened up my own facility, and I probably was the only personal trainer in around a 15-mile radius of my location. And like most people who run their own businesses, I started my business because I wanted to create financial and time freedom. I wanted to earn as much money as possible and have as much free time as possible, so that when I did have a family, I could not only give them the best lifestyle possible, but actually be there and experience that with them. So for the first 3-ish years of running my business, it was head down, working every hour I could, putting all my time, effort, and energy into building my business. And I did just that. I built a very, very successful personal training business. I got to a point where I was working between 40 and 50 hours a week in delivering one-to-one personal training sessions. Now, you put that on top of them running the business, I was probably doing a 60, 70-hour working week. And a lot of those hours were antisocial. And just to put a little bit of extra context here, the most amount of clients I did in one day was 14. I started at 6 o'clock in the morning and worked almost solidly back to back until 10 o'clock that evening. And of course, this is great when you're a single person, but when you then acquire a girlfriend who eventually becomes your fiance, and then you get married and you buy a home together, and then you start talking about children, and you said that we had our eldest child. That's where it all went wrong for me. I got to a point where I just feel that I didn't have the time to do everything, and I sacrificed myself. I stopped exercising, I stopped looking after myself. I started relying on quick fix foods, so high sugar, high processed foods, caffeine, alcohol. And I got to a point, I piled on roughly 3 stone. I couldn't walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. And I started suffering from depression. And it already came to a head around about our eldest son's first birthday, where, if I'm very, very truthful right now with you, I really don't remember the first year of his life, because he was more of an inconvenience. He was something that required more of my time. Now, this gave me the complete polar opposite to the reason why I set up my business in the first place. Yes, I had the financial freedom, money was great, but I didn't have the time freedom or the health freedom to actually enjoy it. And especially it felt even worse because I am someone who has spent all of their working career in the health and well-being world. So I started to question what's going on. Why have I got access to world-class information and world-class experts yet I can't do it myself? Now, I found the answer in something called neuroscience. This explains what we do, why we do it, or sometimes what we know we should be doing that have a positive impact on our life. Yet on the flip side, we don't actually do the work. So now I want to ask you a question. Now, which out of these following statements is true for you when you start thinking about improving your health and well-being? Okay. Statement A, I have no clue in the world how to achieve the results I desire. Or B, I know what to do, I've done it before, but I struggle to be consistent. Now, I've asked this question of hundreds of people over the past 16 or so years now. 97% of people go for option B. The 3% of people that go for option A didn't quite understand the question properly. What they thought that I meant is, did they have the right information to get the results they desire? And of course, I said, hang on a minute. If you go to a search engine and type in best diet for weight loss or best exercise for weight loss, I can guarantee that in under a second, you will have over 25 million options. You have all the information in the world. When they realized that, they moved to number B. Sorry, option B, not number B. So because of this, I'm not going to dive straight into sharing with you the 3 steps to upgrading your physical and mental performance. Because deep down, what I'm going to share with you, I know that you probably already know these things. You've probably tried them several times before. Yet what's happened for you is the experience that happens with most of the people that I talk to, most of my clients. They know what they should be doing. In fact, they're experts in the 3 to 6 week health kick. Yet eventually, after that 3 to 6 week marker, that little voice in their shoulder starts getting louder and louder. The reasons, the blame, the justification, the excuses keep cropping up to a point where they give up and stop taking action, and they go back to where they were. And that's because you have a lack of understanding around what's going on in your head. Now, my aim over the first part of this training is to not turn you into a neuroscience expert, but just to bring awareness to what is going on in your head and what you can start doing about it. All right. This awareness of what's going on allows you to start making better decisions, and as well as asking better questions. So now look, I've just been talking and I know you've been staring at that picture on your screen. Yes, I drew that picture, not one of my sons, and you are correct. I did not do very well in GCSE art. So come on, let's talk about this. That is an oversized picture of your brain, and you have 3 brains in that head of yours. You did read that correctly. Now, each of these 3 parts of your brain have specific roles, needs, desires, threats, and each will impact your life in different ways. What I want to do now over the next few minutes is start explaining to you and breaking down these 3 brains that you have. Now, we're going to start off with that red part. It's known as the reptilian brain. It's the oldest part of the brain, and it works at a subconscious level. It means it's working behind the scenes all the time. It's very reactive and it's lightning fast. It has one job to do in this life, and it's to keep you alive. That's all its job is to do. The reason it wants to keep you alive is because it wants to keep the species going, as in it needs for you to breed, and it needs for you to educate your offspring to make sure that they stay alive for as long as possible. So this part of the brain is constantly asking if there is any danger. So it's asking, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And it gathers its information via your 5 senses, your sensory system: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Now, if it uses one of your 5 senses and it senses danger, it takes control. It is very reactive and lightning fast. Okay, I'm going to go into the 3 F's in a moment. So what I want you to know right now is when this part of the brain takes over, you are completely out of control until the brain senses that you are no longer in danger. You're basically there for the ride. It's like you're a puppet on string. So the 3 F's being fight, flight, or freeze. Now, let me give you a real world example of this. Let's say that you walk into your home and you smell gas. Now, you have been educated by your elders that smelling gas is a very dangerous thing to do when you walk into your home. So that subconscious brain goes, I'm in danger of death. It takes over. It's reactive. It's lightning fast. And you'll go into one of the 3 F's, fight, flight, or freeze. Flight would be you run into your home, you isolate the gas main, you throw open the windows, you grab a tea towel, and you're flapping like mad to get the gas out of your home. Flight would be you turn on your heels and you run out of your home, your arms in the air, screaming and shouting for help. Now, freeze would only happen if that subconscious brain can't weigh up quickly enough if you're likely to win or lose. All right, this doesn't happen very often, but that's kind of the deer in the headlights, the lights are on but no one's home type scenario. All right, so this only happens if that subconscious brain can't work out quickly enough if you're likely to win. If it's likely to win, you go into fight. If you're likely to lose, you go into flight. Now I want to move on to that middle part, the blue part. This is known as the mammalian brain. It is the second oldest part of the brain. Once again, it is subconscious, it's very reactive and can be lightning fast. It has one job in life to do again, and that's to keep you alive, but this time with your social connections. This is sort of that tribal thing that people talk about a lot. Now, it desires a deep connection with people in your network. Real acceptance from those people, no fakery, please. And it requires meaningful care from those people in your network. Now, of course, your network could be your immediate family. It could be your not so immediate family. It could be your peers. It could be your friends. It could be your work colleagues, your staff, your clients. And of course, when we start talking about all these different relationships, each individual relationship you have then has its own very specific requirements when it comes to connection, acceptance, and care. Now, when this brain senses that your social standing is under threat, or you're not getting enough care, acceptance, and connection, gets its information about your five senses, your sensory system again, it takes control. Again, you're just there for the ride, like on autopilot, you're being played like a puppet on a string. Now, one of two things will happen, okay? If it's immediate danger to death, let's just say that there's a robber in your house, all right, with a gun pointed at you, for example. That's immediate danger. You go into fight, flight, or freeze again. But let's look at the other option, when it's not immediate danger, there's no immediate danger to death. Now, this could be an example, you've had a really stressful day, things haven't gone to plan at work, staff have caused problems, clients have caused problems, people are late for meetings, clients didn't re-sign their contract, all manner of things, and you end up driving home, you're really fed up with the day, and you get stuck behind a Sunday driver on a Monday evening. You walk into your home and your significant other, who's prepared you a lovely meal, is very, very unhappy with you because you missed dinner and it's burnt. All right. What happens? You end up arguing. And have you noticed sometimes, I'm putting my hand up here, I know you can't see it, but I'm putting my hand up, how you end up having a blazing row with your significant other, and it starts to have something really trivial. Well, that's because, again, we can look at fight, flight, or freeze, for example. I have gone off on a slight tangent. I want to rein it back in. I want to talk about the 5 F's. So if there's no immediate danger, so let's just say that you're not getting the care, acceptance, and connection with other people. You're not feeling the love from those people around you. Yes, you could go into fight, flight, or freeze, like the argument with a partner, with a loved one. There are 2 other F's, being feed and fornicate. Yes, I will remain as polite as possible to you. So feed is obviously where we might start talking about, people might need, and this emotional eating. All right, that real sort of subconscious, just grazing of food. And the fornicate, well, I'm not going to talk in any more detail about that one. And now I want to introduce you to the human brain, that front bit. Now, for those of you that haven't guessed, that's meant to be a light bulb and then sort of a plan of action, dot plan of action. All right, I'll explain more in a moment. So the human brain, it's the youngest part of the brain. It's the only conscious part of the brain. And it's very responsive, not reactive, but it is also very slow. But when you are here, you get to be logical, you get to be creative, and you get to do the work because your mind lives in the conscious part of your brain. Okay. This is why when people talk about mindset, I always have a little chuckle because actually most people have the most amazing mindset, especially if you're someone that's set up a financially successful business. You have an amazing mindset. If you're struggling to be logical or creative or to do the work, it's because you have lost access to the human part of your brain where your mind lives. You actually have no access to mindset. Because here's the thing, if one of the 2 subconscious brains are in control, you are out of control. You have no access to the human brain. And we've all heard the expression, I'm out of my mind right now. This is where that expression comes from. Now, there is one way that you can actually push yourself out of that part of your brain, and you can lose access to the human part of your brain. You do this yourself, and that's by mismanaging stress. Now, in this training video, all I want you to know is that the brain or the body distinguishes between different types of stress: emotional stress, work stress, lack of sleep, poor nutrition, dehydration, the list goes on. The other thing I want you to know is stress is inversely proportional to your conscious capacity. Now, conscious capacity is that part of the brain where you get to be logical or creative, you get to do the work. But what I want you to know, and I'm sitting here with my hands moving them across, is the more stress you start putting into the body, all right, the less conscious capacity you start to get, until you get to a point where there's no conscious capacity left. And that's where you push yourself out of your mind. Now, I do have an additional training video, which I can share with you if you let me know, where I explain in much more detail what this conscious capacity tank looks like. Okay, just send me a message after this video. So I just want to summarize now before we move on. There are 3 ways that we lose control. So we lose control when the reptilian brain senses that our life is in danger. The mammalian brain senses that our social connections are under threat. The third way that we lose control happens in the human brain, and that's when we push ourselves to lose control by struggling to manage our stress. So here's the thing, and I always laugh at this slide. Until you stroke the snake and cuddle the puppy, you do not get to meet the human. All right, and that is vital to know whenever you are looking to take new actions. New actions only happen in the human part of your brain. So here we go. Here's the slide. Lifelong results are achieved by creating new habits. New habits are formed when we consciously choose to implement new actions. And after repeating these new actions enough times, the habit is formed and it becomes second nature. The reason why many people struggle to create new habits and enjoy lifelong results is because the subconscious brains are in control too often, aka you spend a lot of time out of your mind. Now, that being said, I now want to move on to the 3 steps to improve your health and well-being. Step number 1, breathing. The quickest way to calm the brain down and bring awareness to what's going on and to focus on the tasks ahead of you, all right, to get back into that human part of your brain, is to complete what's called box breathing. This is a 4x4 second cycle. So here is my invitation to you. So first thing in the morning, set aside 3 to 7 minutes and complete box breathing. Find somewhere quiet, just like Hulk has done. Find somewhere quiet. You can sit, you can lay down, but focus on this box breathing. All right. What is box breathing? It's nasal breathing. You inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. You hold the in-breath for 4 seconds. You exhale for 4 seconds and you hold for 4 seconds. And you just keep going round in this cycle. Also, when you're completing this, as you're inhaling, instead of the chest pushing out as you breathe in, try and focus on pushing the diaphragm down so the belly rises, all right? People also nickname box breathing as belly breathing. So that's invitation number 1. Invitation number 2 is set an hourly alarm and spend 1 minute completing this box breathing. This will help you stay more focused and be more productive and effective throughout the day. Step number 2, hydration. Now on your left there, that is a wee chart. All right, so you can visually see how hydrated or dehydrated you are. So here's a few specific reasons why we should focus on becoming hydrated. So the brain is made up of roughly 9% water. Therefore, it's the first part of the body that feels dehydrated, and it lets you know with exhaustion and fatigue and that real brain fog. Overconsumption of caffeinated drinks can cause dehydration. So limit your caffeinated drink consumption to roughly 4 cups per day. And ideally, all caffeine should be consumed in the morning, all right, because you're then going to use the afternoon to let the body start getting rid of the caffeine. So you're then ready to drift into a nice deep sleep in the evening. I love this next one. Being hydrated reduces wrinkles and keeps the skin looking fresh. Who doesn't want to achieve that? When dehydrated, your liver and kidneys start to promote fat storage. Now, there's a lot of science behind that one, but I just want to put that one out there for now with you. Being hydrated helps the body to remove and flush out toxins and chemicals, allowing your immune system to work more effectively and combat viruses. Now, this doesn't mean to say that you're never, ever going to get ill, all right, because you will. What it does mean you are less likely to get as ill as regularly, and you are more likely to recover quicker when you're hydrated. Thirst and hunger have almost identical signals. So you may just think you're hungry when actually you are thirsty. Here's another one. Look, we've touched on this already. Dehydration causes stress to the body. I've left to cut the most important one to last here. A 2% reduction in hydration. All right. Now, most people who probably only drink around about 500 mils to a litre and half a dozen cups of tea or coffee a day are more likely to be severely dehydrated. All right. So we're talking about a small reduction here. But this small reduction can reduce your personal performance, your output, by 10 to 20%. That is huge. Now, that could be, between 1 and 3 hours a day you're losing. If you add that up over a month, that could be 20 to 60 hours a month if we're just talking about Monday to Friday. 20 to 60 hours. That's a whole working week somewhere just by being dehydrated. So again, my invitation to you is, first of all, start increasing your daily water consumption and reduce your caffeine and alcohol consumption. All right, look to use a water tracking app, something like Waterlog. There are loads of free water tracking apps out there to help you start building up to your ideal, your optimum daily consumption. Number 2, set an hourly alarm and have a drink of water. Remember, just now we spoke about the breathing. When that goes off, have a big swig of water at the same time, okay? And here's how to calculate your optimum daily hydration. Now, it's your weight in pounds divided by 50. And that gives you your ideal litres per day. So I've used an easy example here, 150 pounds, which is 10 stone, 10 pounds, divided by 50 is 3 litres per day. Now, if you work in kilograms, you can do exactly the same. Your weight in kilos divided by 25. Now, ladies, I suggest you max out at 3 litres. Men, I would suggest you max out at 4 litres, so don't go above those 2, all right? Now, step number 3, movement. The human body was not built to sit down for long periods of time. Sitting down for long periods of time, teamed up with poor sitting position, poor posture, will lead to physical pain, discomfort, and more stress is being put into the body. So my invitation to you is to set an hourly alarm. You've already done that, right? And walk around your office or outside for a minute. All right, and again, every hour, have a big drink. Do a minute of this focused breathing and do a minute of just walking around your office, all right? Couple of minutes, 2.5 minutes every hour will have such a huge positive impact throughout the day on your effectiveness, on your productivity, and how you feel. Step number 2, or my second invitation, is take a lunch break and go for a walk, even just for 10 minutes. I know a lunch break, right? Go outside in the fresh air and have a brisk walk. That really helps shift your headspace to have a more productive, effective afternoon. Invitation number 3, set a realistic step target, all right, a daily step target. We've all heard about the 10,000 steps a day. Well, look, here's the thing. If you're someone who's only doing maybe 2,000 to 4,000 steps a day, jumping all that to 10,000 steps is huge. So most people now on their phone have a pedometer. Just for a couple of days, why not see what your average step count is per day and then add 1,000 steps and then keep going until you get to maybe that 10,000 steps per day. Now, you already knew this though, right? All right, I love that picture. One of my wife's favorite programs is Friends, all right? Now, this is not brand new information. You probably knew all of this already. Maybe not some of the finer points, but you were pretty clued up about this. It's not about the information. It's about the implementation. We only get to consistently implement information when we are in the human part of our brain, where our mind is, where our mindset lives. Something to think about. So look, any questions? All right, if you have any questions after watching this presentation, please send them to me. Like I say, my email address is ashley@ashleybishophealth.co.uk. And if you haven't got any questions, please do share with me your biggest takeaway from this presentation. I love getting feedback. Feedback allows me to improve on my skills and my service. So the more feedback you give me, the more I can help others. All right. And look, if you have any further questions, please message or email me. Otherwise, for today, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And until we speak next, take care. Bye-bye.